Hey guys, it's Avengel. Welcome back to the channel. And we're here at Milford Sound today, and we're going to take a little bit of a look at some gorgeous New Zealand scenery in today's flight. And we're taking up the Carenado Cessna Corvalis, because the last one I test flew in 2020 was a big bag of something. This one hopefully will redeem an aircraft that's kind of interesting in a... It's not quite a Cirrus, but it could be. Yeah, those are quite high stakes. So, interesting paint scheme, I'll give it that for a start. But we're going to be heading up the coast here to some of my favourite little airports that are in default scenery you can go visit too and have some fun. Is this suitable for these airstrips? Absolutely not. They're grass and some of them are very much bush. Not appropriate, but it'll be fun all the same. And it's The Sims, so I don't have to pay for the repair bills, so I can. And I can't access the door from here. Do I have to go around the back of the step? Probably to reach this. I do. There we go. We'll hop along in. And we will very quickly, as I pull everything up here. And I'm sat super low down in the cockpit. That's because my head tracking is working. I was leaning forwards, so we'll just make sure we don't do that. We'll quickly get our checks up, and we'll go do our pre-flight. So chocks removed, flaps were good, ailerons were good. This is pre-flight, so we'll go to starting engine. Fuel selected for this tank. That is here. That's a big fuel selector. Oh my god, that is a chunky boy, and it's a wooden fuel. That's cute. Avionics is off. Brakes tested and locked. Starting engine. Parking brake is set, mixture is too rich, we'll make sure that is good. RPM to max, prop is 1/4 inch open. Okay, batteries to on. Yep, strobes to on. Navs to on. Aux to on for 3 to 5 seconds. 2, 3. Starter is good. Okay. Generators and avionics are going on. Yeah, everything else here is basically normal, simple stuff. So we'll get that going up and running. Although I need to find my avionics switch most likely the cockpit here. Because it's not reacting to this. So let me just quickly pull the tablet up to find that one there. Ah, there we go. Cool. Sometimes my hardware switch does not actually physically engage stuff like this one. So we have to do it manually. So it's very much feels like a Cirrus, including the little side sticks. I've actually gotten to fly a Cirrus. Granted, it was the G2 Vision Jet. Or the G2 Plus Vision Jet, sorry. And I will tell you the side stick's weird. I'll tell you more about that once we're in the air, though. So parking brake has been removed. Let's turn my head back on properly now. And it's got quite a limited visibility in this aircraft. So it's like Cessna's attempt to Cirrus SR22, but not. Good room in the back there, of course. Now, it's definitely miles better than the original Corvalis that we got in 2020, which was a third-party add-on. I will not besmirch any names, but it wasn't very good at all. And this one, obviously being Carenado's one, is a lot better. I do like the wooden fuel selector. That is honestly the selling point for me in the entire aircraft. I have a massive lump of wood in the center console that is in the way of my elbow. Couldn't they have made a simpler, smaller, less obtrusive fuel selector? Couldn't there have been like buttons there or recessed into the wood and there's a nice selectable knob so you can put your elbow on there because there's an armrest there? But no, we have a massive hunk of wood that I only can assume is there because you can rip it off in the event of a ditching in water and use it as a flotation device. Or, if you crash in the mountains, you can burn the fuel selector, along with apparently the yoke, or the sticks, as firewood, in case you need it. Because there's no other wood trim in this aircraft other than those controls. And I can't imagine varnished wood flight controls being particularly nice when they get sticky. Okay, get ourselves onto the runway here. Flaps to takeoff position. That was me just verifying they were in takeoff position here. Okay. Alright, advancing throttles. A little bit of a stutter because it's the sim and for some reason it still manages to do that. It immediately smooths out afterwards though, like there. Airspeed's alive. There we go. Maintain our pitch here as we come up. Nice and easy. Let's reduce that pitch angle. 7.5 degrees. Flaps coming up. Okie dokie. Loving it. Okay, let's get our climb settings right here. So yes, massive patch was just released for the sim last night, well tonight when I'm recording this, but 3.5 gig. And it's got tons of aircraft fixes, tons of sim fixes, career mode fixes, a bunch of huge things, which is really exciting to see come into the sim, of course. Earlier than we expected it to come, actually, which is great news. They're really pushing to get this thing fixed. I'm still getting performance impact and issues, and I'm running what would be considered a reasonably good card. I'm starting to think maybe there's also an issue of that being it's an 8 gig 3070 Ti that is playing a factor, which is unfortunate because that's not exactly a cheap card, and it's also maxing out most of the games. Modern Call of Duty games, modern other sim games. It's absolutely kicking their ass. Yeah, but graphically I need to dial things back to run this, and that's sad because I could max out 2020 on Ultra and it was flawless, and now things are kind of kicking down. There has been some talk about various kind of stutters and things in the sim, and during the dev Q&A they referenced that these were hardware limitations and they couldn't do much about that. So that's concerning, meaning basically get a better GPU, scrub. Not ideal, considering recommended specs does say 2070, which is considerably old tech by now. So if that's recommended, what settings are they expecting for that? Medium? Because medium doesn't look fantastic. I'm running on a kind of modified high. It's not ultra, nowhere near. And when you've flown past something at least once, it does look pretty good, but it seems that the rolling cache does not keep it. So I can't fly in an area, have stuff load, and then it flies beautifully and perfectly every time. That rolling cache doesn't seem to actually keep stuff in place. It seems to release it almost immediately, and like it does nothing. So I have to fly over the terrain almost every time to get it to actually come in full detail. It sounds like a weed whacker. I'm not sure I like that. So I will comment on, by the way, the side stick. Now, having not flown the Corvalis one, I don't know how this behaves, but apparently the Cirrus one is the same across the aircraft. So I've never flown a 22. But I did get to fly the Vision Jet GT Plus, and as a person used to a flight yoke, never mind just a stick, but as a pilot used to a flight yoke in Cessnas, it was very strange. It was doable, it worked, it made sense, but considering my pitching back to take off is pulling back on that angled over side stick. And I talked to the pilot about this. I talked to the chief pilot from Cirrus who was with us, and he did say you get used to it in about 4 or 5 hours. And people seem to prefer it, and I could imagine they would. I don't think I did just yet, but I could understand how they would, feel better about it. A little bit turbulence up here, it's kind of nice actually. Oh, hello. But I can see how you would like it, and how you would think it's better, so always a bonus to see that kind of thing. But yeah, it was very surreal, because your action of pitching back is to pull back on this thing that's down there and in front of you, and it feels very video game. So I wasn't applying as much back pressure as I'd want to on takeoff, and considering we're at 6,500 feet density altitude, it made things a little bit smelly in terms of my pitch up and rotation. Wasn't quite as smooth as I'd like, because I was finding I had to put a lot more pressure into it than I'm used to, and it was not a familiar action. So yeah, my first ever actual motion with the side stick on a Cirrus was taking off in a Vision Jet. Yeah. So it's not like I was just in cruise and I was given the controls and it was like, okay, here you go, play with the pitch, play with the roll, see how it feels. No, my first ever application of any kind of control surface, other than testing the control surfaces were free and clear on the ground, obviously, my first actual application of force on that stick in a flight condition was on the takeoff roll. It made things interesting. Now, they haven't really fixed windshield effects, so I'm just going to go dip into this cloud. So my windshield effects are on high here, so I want to see what happens when I dip into this little floofy fella over here. I should get some moisture on this, maybe. I don't seem to have gotten any moisture on the windshield. Huh. Well, I can fix that. Let's go for the old school method of solving this. When the sim stops freaking out. It doesn't feel very rainy. I need to go below this, I guess. Let's drop down into wherever the rain will be. Way fast, let's pull back on the power here. Yeah, it's a very slippery aeroplane, this one. What do you direct me to? Yes, I've seen the avionics switch, thank you. Sending into this. Okay, thank you for showing me the avionics switch. I'm genuinely good, thank you. Thank you. So no rain effects that I'm seeing, no windshield effects, but then again, I could have sworn they were already there. I'm not even sure if it's raining here or just foggy. That's the important question. Because there's way too much visibility. So I cannot tell. We're downstream of our landing site, which is just up ahead of us. Check this weather whilst we're here. The sim loves doing that. Did the thunderstorm work? The thunderstorm did not work. We're going back to the cloud, like the original weather we had. We're going to approach this on a base to final run for our airport, although we're a little bit fast. Well, no, we're going to have to go over the field, turn into traffic and make our run because we're coming in way too fast. There's no way I'm descending in this thing and getting this thing turned in time. It is very slippery. I will say side visibility is fantastic in this aircraft. Definitely an airplane to enjoy flying, looking out the window from. Forward is definitely more of an IFR lover's plane, with that huge pillar in the way. It's not as bad as the Diamonds, but it's not great either. And it's not as bad as the Cirrus. I think the Cirrus has a much bigger window pillar. This one has great side visibility. So there's our strip down there, and the lodge itself. Now this is Martin's Bay. So there's the camp and the resort there. We're landing on this, so we'll come around, we'll make our run. Now there's technically a second auxiliary field over there. We don't need that one today. Coming in for this. It's about 1,700 feet of grass and gravel, we should be good. Okay, we'll go up as far as the beach, we'll turn downwind. Trying to burn off some speed here too. There's the Orcs field down there, although the Orcs field is grown over quite a bit in the sim terms. Pull our nose up and hopefully bleed some speed so I can get some flaps out now. That's what we want. Okay, we're in flap speeds now. Give it some flaps. Okay, that's good to go. We're burning speed like banknotes as we gas the throttle on this thing. Descending turn to base. And we'll just keep rolling around to final. Although we're a little bit quick here, so I may need to just keep curving this thing in. Power's idled out. Oh yeah, we're building speed like crazy. Let's throw out the barn door, shall we? There we go. We'll throw out the barn door a little bit, drop some speed. Although she's looking like she lands quite quickly, so that might be necessary. There we go. Oh, Nelly. Nelly, Nelly, Nelly. Whoa. Good girl. Okay. So we're down here on the ground at Martins Bay. We're going to go for a quick turnaround and head off to Big Bay Beach, which is exactly what it sounds like, a sand landing, which will be interesting in this aeroplane. Let's turn around for these big rocks here. The ground attractions in the sim are definitely the biggest thing for me. That's the biggest change that I absolutely adore, is the roughness of the ground, the involvement of the ground in your flight experience, just how much it adds to the sim. Airspeed's alive. You know, unlike Milford Sound, this one seems to be a nice easy takeoff, so I'll give them credit for that. Running out a runway. How's about we pitch up? Yep, and we're out of here. That's a big darn hole in the water. Considering these are... oh, there's a few of them on there. We'll circle over that and take a look, actually. But funny thing is, this is actually an add-on airport, you know, and they did a huge amount of updates to the world, update airports that were added in this last patch. It's funny to see that they've got water area issues, which appear to be healing themselves. Huh, they've healed themselves. Maybe that's a loading thing with data. I've never seen a water do that. It's like a huge hole that then just fixed itself. Wild. Huh. So we'll cut across inland here towards Big Bay Beach. But Big Bay Beach is a sandy runway, unmarked on the beach itself. Really would do with bush tyres for that kind of thing, just because you're sinking otherwise. And there are huge rocks, so we'll have to do a recce pass. Work out what's going to be smooth for us to land, because the rocks are big enough in this sim to absolutely F your plane. In deliciously unpleasant ways. So we don't want to have that happen. Not at all. Okay, looking good. So yeah. The slide stick, again, I find it weird, but at the same time I could see how people would enjoy it. Does that make sense? I could see how people would like it. So Big Bay Beach is right over here. Nice and easy to visit. Like I said, these are all default to the sim, so you get to enjoy these too. What's that? Oh, is that primer as well? Oh no, that is the primer. I was confused it was something else. Fear not. Okay, so we're going to be going quickly already, so I'm going to start powering off for our recce pass. Because Big Bay Beach is right here. Our runway is about this area, so we don't want to go too nutso. Now, this is a good video for me to shoot because I've flown this area twice, I think, in 2020. So it's great to see the difference in comparison to what 2020 offered for us. And it does look very good. It's just the train caching and loading side of things that still bugs me in many ways. But yeah, it is looking good. I think to me as a bush pilot, the advantages are monstrous. But I don't have a wide selection of those planes yet. We have the Beaver, of course. We have the Norden. The 206 from Sal works. It's just not specialised. Plus it's got some glitches on some of its avionics. Alright, just get ourselves down here for a quick look-see-doodle. But there will be some coming. Again, Duckworth, I'm going to be using Brainwave science here to encourage you to finish the mod for the DC-3, because I'm not flying the stock one in this condition. I refuse. And apparently they started working on a lot of the marketplace aircraft to add. You can now enable and disable stuff from the marketplace, and hallelujah, no longer are all the 2020 stuff you have bought in the marketplace now showing in your flight history. So now, no longer, those rocks aren't spawning in. That's a deep concern to me. Oh, there they are. So yes, no longer will your menu, your flight menu, show a bunch of stuff you bought but don't currently want installed or can't use because they're just not ready. So now everything will show just what's there, and you can enable and disable packages from your library page, which is in the Marketplace tab on the screen. I'll show you those for you after the flight here, just so you know what we're doing. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to see where those features are and how those work. I will show those to you. Alright, so there's our strip. We're just going to do a bit of a quick touchdown and we'll turn around and we'll take off for Gorge River. Yeah, Gorge River. Nice and easy. So, okay. Power's out. Lose some speed here. She's a very slippery little plane, but of course it is very smooth and slippery. Look at this thing. It's like a missile with people in it, which is kind of what an airplane is, if you think about it. Okay. Landing flap selected. Gonna roll around here. Now I have to remember she lands quickly because her stall speed's in the 60s. And when I've got sand, so I don't even know what this is going to do to us. And I know I have to land kind of close to the water than I'd like because it's the bit that's got no rocks on it. So watch this space for a likely interesting landing. Hold the nose for a soft field. Like a butter. Woo! Okay. Boingy butter, boingy butter! I can't believe it's not butter. Woo. Okay. It's a little springier here than I expected. We'll give him that. I wonder if there's a smoother bit I can take off on. Maybe there's grass up here. We'll go to the grass. This looks smoother. Doesn't feel much smoother. Oh god, it's all rough. Can I even take off anyway here? This is not a bush plane. What am I doing? See, this actually makes doing this kind of flying hard now, because the terrain is not smooth and flat. So this is incredibly realistic in that regard, that we haven't experienced this a lot more challenging. This bit looks smoother, I think. Let's hit it. See what happens, shall we? Okay, holding the nose up. Lighten the controls. If I hit a big lump here, I'm going to go sky high. It's not ideal. Airspeed's coming through. Okay, we're looking good. It is smoother here. Okay, hold that nose light. And we're off the runway. And you know what? Actually, these practical techniques do make a difference in this kind of flying, because if your nose is going to be too low and you have too much weight on the nose, either landing with a heavy nose or you are taking off with a heavy nose and you have rough undulating ground underneath your aircraft, if that nose wheel bites, it's going to either flip you or it's going to dig in and cause you to bounce. So by touching down with your nose kind of very light, you're mitigating a lot of that kind of bounce you'll get there, because the aircraft's not only having a higher angle of attack, so it's got less energy, but your nose wheel's not going to dig in and cause you to pivot or bounce and flip. And the takeoff, the same thing. It's not going to kick you as hard, because same logic as riding a bicycle over bumps. Now you can absorb the bumps with your knees and arms and just kind of use your arms and knees as shock absorbers and kind of take that bump. Or if you basically hold your weight back, if your weight is too central or too far forward in that sort of situation, the nose wheel will hit and stick or the front wheel, and you'll bounce, so you'll go over the bars, right? Now, if you are over the back wheel, your nose wheel's light, and if you can run across rocks, roots, and anything nasty, you can go over big bumps and rollers, and that front wheel of the bike will not dig in or throw you, because all the weight is off it, you're at the back, right? Now, if you manual the bike and you're just on the rear wheel, you'll go over those bumps so much easier. I'm not advocating landing and taking off an aeroplane with without the nose wheel on the ground, but the lighter that nose wheel is, the less likely it's going to dig in. Now, obviously, the softer surface is a big deal as well there. That's why a soft field landing approach involves holding your nose more. It's not saying that it's a smelly type of activity, it's because you want to not reduce the potential chance for it to dig in and or bounce the aircraft. So, all of it makes logical sense. It's about weight. And the aircraft and or, in my example, the bike will react better if there is less weight on that front. It'll cause less overall undulation of the vehicle, right? So if most of your weight's on the back wheel, or the main gear on an aeroplane, right, and you hit bumps on the runway, taking off or landing, or in the bike you're going over bumps, it's going to go up and down, right? It's not going to pitch. If you have full weight on the front, or the nose wheel, or the front wheel of the bike, you will pitch. It will seesaw, it will go like this, right, like this. You'll go up and down the full axis of pitch, right? Whereas if you are on less weight on the front and more weight on the rear, it will just go up and down, like vertically. So you're actually absorbing a lot of the impact of behaviour. And with now much rougher ground for aircraft to actually operate off, like that runway there, it's a huge actual benefit to doing it. It's no longer just something to do to be realistic, it actually has an impact. And if you see all the rocks and things, ooh, yes, they have a huge part in this. And here's Gorge River. We're actually above it right now. We're going to descend down towards it. And we're very fast, and this thing's slippery once again. But this is a gorgeous little one right here on the waterfront. Right at the mouth of the river. And we'll see it down below us. And it's got some cool buildings, so we'll hop out and explore. Because we can do that in 2024, and I love that about this sim. So hopefully you enjoyed my physics lesson there on aeroplanes and mountain bikes. Although bush flying and mountain bikes have a lot in common, so there is that. There's Gorge River. The gravel beaches here. What is that, fella? Oh, it's gravel that's not quite at the right level. The gravel there and there, which I'm guessing is meant to be on the water level. Maybe it'll pop down when we get closer, but the gravel seems to have got confused as to where it's meant to be. Now that looks like a landing challenge for the Norden. We'll take a look at this place here, so we're going to come around. Very tight, probably too tight here. Very much too tight. Don't do what I do at home, kids. Floating gravel bars, no big deal. NBD. Right. Now we'll come around and make our approach. Not trying to fly this thing, a fighter jet, I promise. Take off flaps. At least it's burned enough airspeed for me to do that, though. There she is. Wonderful. Let's hold one notch for now. I will say I do like the stock Corvalis. It's nice. And having all these different improvements and changes in stock planes to me has been a big, big difference. Now, once we're able to download stuff to our local library, I think they'll all be amazing. But even just in the short term, actually having this stuff there is such a big thing. I love it. It really makes the sim so much more in-depth from a lower level. So stock aircraft really hold a lot of vitality to them. Sure, there's no system's depth, but it's a really good start. To have everything be realistically around that Carenado level for stock planes is massive. Like, I remember when we paid $30 a Carenado plane in FSX and P3D. To now have that be the stock aeroplane standard, we are living in the future, boys and girls. Although, yeah, it technically is the future. Oh, crud, this is about to get interesting. Activate side slip. This is a bit fast and this is a bit short. That's a big log. I have to force her down here, so there we go. No. No tank slapper, no tank slapper, no tank slapper. Stop, release the brakes. Let it run, okay. Was nearly getting into a tank slapper there. Parking brakes are on. Avionics systems are off. And we have ceased flying stuff. Let's hop out, shall we? Okay, we're out. And if I was want to do this, have a look around this place. Oh, we kind of killed an ATV, but that's alright. Gorge River. Nice. Is there a gate into here? Oh, crawl under the bushes. There's a path there. Ah! Yeah, boys and girls, this is Flight Sim we're playing. Neat, isn't it? I still find it amazing that I can now run around in Flight Sim. Is it a bit derpy at times? Yes. Is it cool as heck? Yes. Well, I can't climb on stuff. I want to be able to jump and climb on things, Flight Sim. Come on. How else can I dolphin dive at my airplane? Although we can tactically squat. That's important. Tactical squatting is important. For reasons. As is going third person. If you want to know how to go third person, we'll quickly show you that one. Because you need to, of course, have your button for going third person in the airplane, right? But first, you go to Settings. And you'll go to General. Advanced Options. Allow third person view camera. Check. Okay? Make sure that is set. That's important. Right? So we're going to go back to the actual menu now. I'm going to show you the stuff for where your library stuff is. And I just hit settings again like an idiot. So I'll go back to the main menu here. And I'll show you where this is in your settings. And this is seamless loading back and forth, which is fantastic. So now you'll notice I don't have all the other rubbish in my aircraft list. It's just what's actually available to me right now. It's not everything that I've ever bought in the marketplace, but it's technically still currently unusable in the sim. It's only stuff that's usable and or what I've installed into my community folder. So that's fantastic. Okay. Now, let's go back to the marketplace. Let's save it back. We'll go back. Marketplace. My library. Now, this is where you'll have streamed, rented, and trialed, installed, not installed. So right now, we can go to enable disable. So I'm going to scroll down to something, for example. So these are disabled. That needs to be turned on and off, that sort of thing. That's fine. So we'll look down to an aircraft. We'll find something like... These are all not available yet, so that's the thing. Do we have our default aircraft in this list? I don't think we do. Yeah, they're not. It's not listing as not available currently. Apparently we can't disable or enable actual default stuff yet. So we'll see that as a thing. But for example, the diamond flash, we can. It's here. So we can disable that. So if I don't want to see that in my listing, I can disable that. If I don't want to see another aircraft in my list, I can disable it, which is fantastically useful. So I could disable all the aircraft from I could disable a whole update if I wanted to. Yeah? Super simple. Really easy to use. And now actually functional. So if I didn't want to use flight challenges, I could turn these off completely. I could disable them. If I was never going to fly in northeastern United States, I could turn that off. Up to you what you want to have enabled or disabled, which does make a fairly big difference realistically. For example, that I could just go no, disable, or I could turn it on. But now it's obviously not available yet, but it's something I could enable. In this case, enable. Restart required, so it would show it there. Okay, really nice and simple. Hopefully this has given you some either enjoyment of watching the flying, and or you've gotten to actually get some tips on the third person on foot camera, and or where to find and disable and enable stuff now. That's an option since they introduced it with the patch last night. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.